To every soul present, listen closely. There's a woman among us, one who has often wept when no one was looking. She keeps her true feelings hidden from others, but deep within, her spirit aches for tranquility. She moves as if everything is fine, yet the world remains unaware of the quiet struggles she endures. Let me be absolutely clear. That woman is not weak. That woman is not forgotten. That woman is watched over, not by ordinary people, but by powers beyond what this world can perceive. Some of you may not even grasp this, but the reason you didn't shatter when treachery struck, the reason you endured when it seemed impossible, is because you were being shielded. You are not by yourself. I urge you to stay with this message until the very end, because when you finish, your perspective will have shifted entirely. A woman with a higher calling is never isolated. You may not perceive the hand that cradles her, but it is surely there. You may not hear the voice that directs her, yet it speaks. The world might believe she navigates difficult times all by herself, but what they don't comprehend is that every stride she takes is encircled by unseen safeguarding. There are energies that respond when she feels exhausted, opportunities that appear when her strength falters, and moments that seem like mere chance. These are actually precise arrangements, deliberate and intended. This is because a woman with a special purpose isn't put here merely to get by. She's placed here to achieve something far grander than her own sorrow, her past experiences, or her pressure. When you are selected for something extraordinary, your journey won't resemble everyone else's. Your pathway will often appear more solitary, more challenging, heavier. You will be the one who faces misunderstanding, the one who is overlooked, the one who is betrayed, lied about, and taken advantage of. But here's the profound truth. You are undergoing a refining process. The hardship was not meant to demolish you. It was intended to reveal you, to draw forth something from within you that comfort could never awaken. And while you are passing through such times, it's easy to feel as though no one is beside you, as though no one truly comprehends, as if perhaps you are unfortunate. But you are not unfortunate. You are enfolded in a protection that doesn't boast, it doesn't brag, it doesn't announce its presence, but it is consistently there. Every instance you should have lost your composure but didn't. Every time you discovered calmness amidst turmoil, every moment you distanced yourself from something that sought to extinguish your spirit, that isn't luck. That isn't solely your resolve. That is protection. And this doesn't extend to just anyone. A woman with a sacred aim is safeguarded because her fate is not exclusively her own. It is interwoven with the lives of others. She is the sort of woman who will influence individuals she has not yet even encountered. She will raise children with inner strength. She will utter words that lift others from despair. She will possess knowledge that illuminates any space. So existence will attempt to crush her early on, circumstances will test her convictions, but protection intervenes when she cannot contend for herself. Even when she is suffering, she continues to press ahead. That is why, even when her heart feels heavy, she still finds the capacity to smile. That is why, even when people turn against her, something persistently whispers to her, keep moving forward. That something is not arbitrary. That is divine guidance. That is the safeguard around her existence, declaring this one carries a significant purpose. People observe her triumphs, but they do not witness her struggles. They see her radiance, but they do not know the immense effort it took for her to shine so brilliantly. And even when she is quiet, particularly when she is quiet, she is defended, because stillness is not fragility. It is protection in motion. You do not have to engage in every conflict when you are watched over. You do not have to offer explanations when your course is mapped out. And you do not have to implore people to remain when you are advancing with purpose, because what is intended for you will recognize you, and what is not will be removed, perhaps painfully, but always necessarily. Sometimes that safeguard appears as rejection, as heartache, as feeling isolated, and it wounds, it feels unjust, but it is not retribution, it is alignment. You were never meant to journey with individuals who could not grasp your aspirations, who could not manage your true calling, who would have diverted you from your path. Thus, they had to depart, and you had to develop independently. You were being attentively observed. You do not need to shout to be acknowledged. You do not need to plead to be selected. When your existence has meaning, safeguarding accompanies it. You do not need to perceive wings to know you are enfolded. The sheer fact that you are still here, after all you have endured, that is proof. That is clear evidence. You have been encircled this entire time. When you ended that relationship that nearly shattered you, protection. When you were in a place where your mental well-being was precariously balanced, and somehow you emerged to literally protect, and you had no idea how the financial obligations would be met, and assistance appeared precisely on time. Protection. This was not by mere chance. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are being fought for in ways you may never fully comprehend. That is why some assaults never reached you. Some individuals attempted to tarnish your reputation, but it did not stick. Some circumstances tried to drag you down, but they could not hold you, because when your ultimate purpose is shielded, your future cannot be stolen. This does not imply the journey will be effortless. It does not mean that tears will cease. But it signifies that every hardship has a grand design, every setback holds a teaching, and every phase is preparing you for what lies ahead. That is why you must not surrender. Not now, not when you are so near. You have been guided too far to abandon who you are evolving into. A woman with a divine mission is never alone, even when the world makes her feel as if she is, because her very presence here is too vital, her narrative too potent, her spirit too distinctive, and her existence too well guarded. So step forward with boldness, even if it means moving through difficult situations. Speak with gentleness, even when others misinterpret you. Remain kind, even when they seem undeserving, because those who are protected do not behave like others. They act with serenity, they act with influence, they act with safeguarding. They do not need to explain. You are one of them. Pain does not signify she is overlooked. Just because she is hurting does not mean she is forsaken. In fact, the sorrow she carries might simply be an indication that she is being prepared for something much greater. You see, people often believe that when life becomes arduous, it is a sign that they have been disregarded. That if she is weeping at night, if she is solitary, if she is battling challenges no one else knows about, then perhaps the world or higher powers have turned away from her. But that is a falsehood. The truth is, the pain she experiences is not punishment. It is transformation. It is not a sign of neglect, it is a sign of development. Because the woman who is being forged for something powerful must be tested by something challenging. The deeper the hurt, the more profound the recovery. The more difficult the ascent, the more magnificent the panorama. She is not enduring this because she is fragile. She is enduring it because she is strong enough to bear it, strong enough to withstand it, strong enough to emerge from it with something the world cannot snatch from her: wisdom, an inner fire, and an unshakable tranquility. Have you ever pondered why her life seems like an endless struggle? Why she repeatedly faces setbacks? Why she constantly has to begin anew while everyone else appears to glide through? It's because she is entrusted with significant pressure. Pain is evidence that something in her life is shifting, advancing, being made ready. And if it didn't matter, it wouldn't hurt this deeply. If it wasn't meaningful, she wouldn't be tested this rigorously. Pain always accompanies purpose. The woman who is being reshaped by sorrow doesn't always comprehend it in the moment. She simply feels its weight. She weeps. She questions. She withdraws. People observe her smile, but they do not see her tears. They perceive her fortitude, but they do not sense the nights she spent in silence, striving to keep herself intact. But let me tell you something truly impactful. Just because she is quiet does not mean she is shattered. Just because she is still does not mean she has been vanquished. Sometimes silence is where her spirit finds renewal. Sometimes isolation is where her strength is rebuilt. There is a rationale for every breakdown, for every betrayal, for every unanswered plea. There is a rationale. That door closed. There's a rationale she had to depart. There's a rationale it did not unfold as she envisioned, not because she is being penalized, not because she is overlooked, but because she is being safeguarded and guided anew. Her sorrow is not squandered. Not a single tear falls without being observed. Not a single wound is left unattended, even if she cannot perceive it yet. Healing is progressing, restoration is approaching, and tranquility is being constructed in silence. Many women carry pain as if it were a mark of shame. They conceal it, bury it, pretend it doesn't exist. But that pain, that is her narrative, that is her power, that is her affirmation. Every scar she bears, every fragment of her heart that needed mending, is proof that she survived something designed to demolish her. It did not. And if it did not demolish her, it forged her. She may have lost some companions. She may have walked away from someone she cherished. She may have buried aspirations, altered plans, lost self-assurance, but she gained something else. She gained resilience. She gained clarity. She gained a kind of fortitude that cannot be feigned. And the woman who extracts strength from sorrow becomes a formidable force to be reckoned with, because nothing strikes harder than a woman who has discovered power in what was intended to obliterate her. She is not forgotten. Just because she has not yet witnessed the breakthrough does not mean it is not approaching. Just because she has not fully recovered does not mean she is not already in the process of healing. The journey requires time, and time necessitates trust. So if she is still amidst the storm, still within the struggle, still in the core of what feels like disorder, hold fast. Do not give up. The pain is not permanent. The pain is not her identity. It is what she is moving through. She might feel alone, but she is being watched over. She might feel stuck, but she is being directed. She might feel lost, but she is being aligned. Her tears are not going unnoticed. Her heartache is not going unseen. She may not sense it, but assistance is nearer than she imagines. Angels operate silently. They do not always manifest with a loud declaration, but they appear, and they appear precisely on time. And when she finally emerges, when the commotion subsides, when the confusion dissipates, she will reflect and realize that the sorrow was not a penalty, it was a strategic placement. That the suffering was not abandonment, it was a harmonious alignment. That she did not lose anything that was meant for her, and everything she experienced played a role in shaping who she is becoming. So let her keep her head held high, even with a heavy heart. Let her continue moving forward, even if her steps are slow. Let her trust that even in the deepest darkness, light is drawing near, because a woman who experiences profound pain is a woman who is being profoundly molded. And that molding, that is not a sign she has been overlooked. That is a sign she has been specially chosen. Let her pain remind her that she is still alive. Let it remind her that she still possesses purpose. Let it remind her that her narrative is still unfolding. Because the woman who carries sorrow but consistently shows up, consistently loves, consistently gives, consistently believes, that woman is never forgotten. She is protected. She is honored. And her breakthrough is not a question of if, but a matter of when. You cannot perceive the celestial beings, but that does not mean they are absent. Just because the world feels cold, just because the path feels solitary, does not mean she traverses it alone. There is a power, gentle and unobservable, that moves with her, shields her, lifts her when she is too weary to stand. The woman who is cherished is not left unguarded. Even when no one appears, when no one calls, when no one seems to care, she is not without a covering. What surrounds her is far more formidable than anything attempting to harm her. She does not require an audience to be significant. She does not require applause to recognize her worth. Some of the most potent safeguarding she will ever encounter will arrive in silence, not with clamor, not with flashes of light, but in those tranquil moments when she feels on the verge of breaking down and yet somehow discovers the strength to rise again. That is not chance, that is not fortune, that is protection. That is intervention. There are conflicts she never even perceived. Circumstances she sidestepped that she didn't even know were designed to ruin her. Words that were spoken behind her back, traps that were laid, instruments that were fashioned, but none of it touched her. Not because she was lucky, but because she was shielded, guarded, watched over by something that moves beyond what the eye can see. Do you wish to comprehend how formidable that is? She has navigated tempests that should have eradicated her. She has borne burdens that should have crushed her spirit. She survived betrayals that were intended to shatter her trust in everyone. And yet, she is still here. Not because the world was merciful, but because her safeguarding was divine. That kind of survival does not stem merely from being resilient. It stems from being observed, enfolded, and people might not grasp it. They will wonder how she persevered. They will inquire how she is still standing, how she is still hopeful, how she still finds calmness amidst turmoil. And she may not even possess the words for it, because it's not something she always feels. It's just something she knows, a profound inner certainty that no matter how difficult life becomes, something has her back. Do you ever notice how things collapse precisely when something superior is about to emerge? That entrance closes, but somehow the appropriate one opens. That individual departs, but serenity enters. That prospect fails, but a distinct purpose is unveiled. These are not random occurrences. That is orchestration. That is alignment. That is something larger stepping in to declare, not this route, not this time, I possess something superior. There is a calm that encircles the woman who understands this. Even when things defy logic, even when the world tells her she should panic, she moves with grace. She responds with strength. She does not explain herself to everyone. She does not attempt to persuade people to remain, because deep down she comprehends that what is destined for her will never bypass her. And what bypasses her was never meant to be retained. And even in her most vulnerable moments, the celestial beings do not depart. They are not awaiting her perfection. They are not present only when she is strong. No, they appear when she is shattered, when she is bewildered, when she is on her knees whispering prayers no one hears. That is when the real work unfolds. That is when she is most safeguarded, not when she is smiling, but when she is struggling. Not when she is loud, but when she is quiet. People forget that some conflicts are spiritual, some victories cannot be explained. And when you are a woman who is profoundly cherished, profoundly selected, you are going to encounter things that challenge your spirit. But the wonderful news is you never face it alone. Her safeguarding does not rely on her performance. It relies on who she is and who she is evolving into. And she is becoming someone who no longer fears the shadows, because she knows what accompanies her in the darkness. That is why her tranquility puzzles people. That is why her perseverance frustrates them. They imagined breaking her would be simple. They thought the falsehoods, the rejection, the silence would vanquish her. But she was not alone. And they were unaware of who was contending for her when no one else materialized. That quiet strength, that poise under pressure, it arises from knowing she is shielded in ways others cannot grasp. So when she enters a room, she does not need to declare her worth. It is already inscribed all over her. You can perceive it in how she carries herself, that silent assurance, that unshakable presence, that energy that conveys, I have endured hardships, but I am still standing. I have been counted out, but I still rise. That is not arrogance, that is protection manifesting as peace. You do not need to observe wings to know you are enveloped. You do not need to hear a voice to know you are being guided. The woman who is cherished, who is chosen, who is safeguarded, she does not always require answers. She simply requires faith. Because even when everything around her is disintegrating, something within her is being held together. And that something is what propels her through. The gales will come, the battles will rage, but the celestial beings do not retreat. They do not give up, they do not grow weary. And as long as she continues to advance, they continue to encircle her. That is the potency of unseen safeguarding. That is the fortitude of a woman who is never genuinely by herself. She is observed, she is enfolded, she is guarded because she is cherished. And nothing in this world can touch what is divinely protected. There exists a particular woman who does not pursue attention. She does not beg for affirmation. She does not attempt to prove her value to anyone, not because she believes she is superior to others, but because she knows she is protected. She grasps something most people miss. When you are genuinely watched over, when you are truly observed, you do not have to fight for every space, every connection, every moment of recognition. She moves differently because she knows she is not moving alone. A shielded woman possesses clarity. She may not possess all the solutions, but she possesses tranquility. And tranquility is power in a world that is always rushing, always comparing, always striving to acquire more. She has mastered the skill of stillness because she does not mistake activity for advancement. She does not mistake clamor for significance. She does not pursue what does not feel aligned. Why? Because she trusts what is observing her more than what is attempting to divert her. You might observe her seated quietly in a corner while everyone else is striving to be noticed. You might misinterpret her silence for frailty, her absence for insignificance. But that is where people err. Her stillness is intentional. Her solitude is sacred. That space she grants herself. That is not loneliness. That is wisdom. That is preparation. Because the woman who is watched over, who is surrounded by divine safeguarding, does not hurl herself into disorder, attempting to be embraced by individuals who do not even comprehend her spirit. She knows better. She knows the expense of forcing herself into places not intended for her. She knows what it feels like to disregard her inner knowing and suffer the consequences later. So now she listens. She pays attention to the indications, to the quiet inner voice within. That voice has preserved her from things that would have destroyed her. That voice has instructed her when to remain and when to depart. And every time she trusted it, she later perceived the truth. That is not paranoia, that is discernment. That is what transpires when you live in harmony with your safeguarding. And it is not always effortless. Sometimes it entails refusing something that appears appealing. Sometimes it entails distancing herself from individuals who made her feel secure but were not wholesome. Sometimes it entails residing in uncertainty, knowing that what is approaching is grander than what is departing. That kind of self-discipline, it is not for the faint of heart. It demands fortitude, but that fortitude does not originate from her, it originates from who is upholding her. She has been wounded before, she has wept herself to sleep. She has posed the inquiries, why me? Why now? Why in this manner? But even in her questioning, even in her confusion, she was still watched over. She did not always grasp the lesson immediately. She did not always feel strong, but she was always protected. Even when she did not sense it, something was always positioned before her, shielding her from the worst of it. That is what instilled in her the courage to persevere. And let me tell you, when a woman realizes she is safeguarded, her entire demeanor transforms. She ceases pleading, she ceases compromising, she ceases entertaining disorder. You will observe it in her manner of speaking, in her posture, in how swiftly she releases what does not bring her tranquility. Because she is no longer fearful of missing out. She is no longer fearful of being alone. She is no longer fearful of silence. She has learned that some of the most excellent things in her existence arrived after moments of deep stillness. Moments when everything was quiet, but everything was unfolding behind the scenes. She does not panic when people leave. She does not pursue explanations from individuals who disappeared. She does not lose her composure when plans fail, because she has witnessed the pattern too frequently. When something concludes, something superior begins. When someone departs, something grander enters. Her safeguarding does not exempt her from sorrow, but it does guide her through it. Stronger, wiser, more centered, more aware. Do you wish to know how to identify a woman who knows she is protected? She does not need to persuade anyone to cherish her. She does not compete. She does not diminish herself to conform to someone else's expectations. She walks in truth. She walks in quiet authority, not because life has been easy, but because she has witnessed what happens when she trusts the process. She has witnessed what happens when she releases control and permits the unseen powers to do their work. And people will misunderstand her. They will perceive her as cold, detached, arrogant, but she is not. She simply does not have time for confusion. She does not have space for half-hearted connections. She is not here to engage in trivialities. She is here to fulfill something grander. She is here to become all that she was created to be, and she cannot achieve that surrounded by commotion, by drama, by things that deplete her spirit. So she guards her energy as if it were sacred, because it is. And when life strikes hard, and it will, she still rises, not because she is fearless, but because she knows she is not moving through it alone. Her path might appear quiet, her journey might be solitary at times, but it is not vacant. It is brimming with presence, with purpose, with protection. And that is why she can endure. That is why she does not have to constantly strive. That is why she can smile amidst the tempest. Because being a protected woman does not mean you are never wounded. It means you do not remain shattered. It means every mark becomes a story of triumph. Every stumble becomes a setup for an ascent. Every closed entrance is simply redirection. So she continues to advance, head held high, shoulders back, heart open, but guarded, because she comprehends who she is. She comprehends who is with her, and she comprehends no force formed against her will, but because her safeguarding is more formidable. Her safeguarding is constant. Her safeguarding is divine. She is not merely strong. She is preserved. And that preservation did not come easily. It came through trials, through sorrow, through seasons that attempted to break her down and leave her hollow. But someone was always positioned between her and utter destruction. Something was always intervening precisely at the brink. when the world believed it had her cornered, when life piled on disappointments, heartaches, betrayals, and grief, she did not collapse. She did not vanish. She endured. She survived, not because she was the toughest in the room, but because she was the most covered. People often mistake her resilience for good fortune. They think she always seems to recover. But what they don't grasp is that she's not just recovering, she's being lifted. Every time she falls, there's a hand beneath her, unseen by the world, catching her before she reaches absolute despair. She's not moving alone. She never was. There's a barrier around her, a shield, a force that declares you can touch her life, but you cannot seize her purpose. That is why some storms simply bypassed her. That is why some connections, though they seemed promising, abruptly ended. That is why some entrances slammed shut, even when she believed she needed what lay beyond. Because what was safeguarding her was not concerned with her comfort. It was concerned with her true calling. That protection did not appear to make things simple. It appeared to ensure she fulfilled the reason she is still breathing. Her preservation isn't always obvious. Sometimes it resembles a breakdown that leads to a breakthrough. Sometimes it resembles isolation that fosters profound understanding. Sometimes it's the painful conclusion that ultimately becomes her greatest blessing. Her safeguarding often feels like agony in the moment. It feels like confusion, like setbacks, like silence. But that's only because we don't always perceive the danger that was lurking hidden. The danger she was spared from. She has endured nights where she wept so intensely she couldn't breathe. She has had moments where her convictions wavered, where she questioned everything, herself, her worth, her direction. But still, something within whispered, "Hold on." And she did, not because she saw a clear path forward, but because she knew deep down that something was carrying her. Every time she believed she was finished, she awakened to another day, another chance, another struggle still remaining in her spirit. That is not a coincidence. That is protection. There is a reason she is still present. There is a reason the weight did not crush her. There is a reason she walked through fire and emerged refined instead of consumed. Because she was never contending alone. There are things she overcame that others did not. There are burdens she carried that no one else could have managed, but she was not carrying them by herself. Every tear, every ache, every unanswered question, she was surrounded through it all. And what makes her powerful now is not just her fortitude, it's her awareness. She knows she is watched over. She knows her steps are determined, even when they are arduous. She does not need to declare it, but you can perceive it in her movement, in her presence, in her tranquility. Because tranquility does not signify she has not endured conflict. It signifies she has endured it and emerged with clarity, with direction, with authority. She is not arrogant. She is simply aware. She is aware that every time someone attempted to break her, she returned more focused. Every time something attempted to bury her, it became her very foundation. Every assault was converted into fuel. That is what happens when you are preserved for a purpose grander than your sorrow. That is what happens when safeguarding is wrapped around your destiny like armor. The flames can touch you, but they cannot consume you. The waves can crash, but they cannot drown you. And people will not comprehend how she persevered. They will look at her and believe she has no cause to be that composed, that grounded, that serene. But what they don't perceive is the grace, the unseen favor, the silent strength that met her in the deepest hours of the night. That is what keeps her going. That is what keeps her believing, even when there is no tangible proof yet. She has lived too much. She has seen too much. She knows that every breakdown she has experienced came with a lesson. Every closed chapter led to a superior one. That is why she does not rush anymore. That is why she can distance herself from what does not serve her. That is why she can be misunderstood, misjudged, and still maintain her dignity. because she comprehends who she is, but more significantly, she knows she is kept. That understanding is her extraordinary ability. That understanding is why she does not panic when things go awry. She has witnessed divine timing too frequently to doubt now. You cannot bring down a woman who has been preserved for something greater. You can delay her, you can distract her, but you cannot defeat her, because every delay only sharpens her, every distraction only deepens her focus, and every setback only strengthens her faith. She does not crumble, she ascends. And that ascent does not always occur publicly, it occurs in the quiet, in the demanding parts, in the shadow. That is where she was preserved, that is where she was protected. So when you observe her smiling now, when you observe her moving with tranquility, understand that's not just a woman who merely survived, that's a woman who was carried through. She didn't just endure the tempest, she was shielded within it. And now she stands stronger, wiser, and more unshakable than ever. Not because life didn't attempt to break her, but because her safeguarding never ceased fighting for her. Ever witnessed a woman enter a space and everything just feels different? The energy shifts. People take notice, not because she is loud, not because she is flamboyant, but because there's something about her, a calm fortitude, a quiet intensity that is not arrogance, that is not a performance, that is a woman who knows she is cherished, not just by people, but by something far grander than anything this world can offer. She knows she is chosen, and when a woman knows she is chosen, she conducts herself differently. That assurance, that elegance, that is the tangible evidence. When a woman is deeply cherished, she becomes dangerous to anything that attempts to lessen her, not dangerous in a harmful way, but dangerous in the way she refuses to diminish herself, dangerous in the way she refuses to settle, dangerous in how fiercely she guards her tranquility, her purpose, her very being. Because once you've been loved correctly, not by the world, but by something eternal, you stop pursuing validation. You stop begging for small portions of affection. You stop permitting disorder to occupy your existence. She does not need the world to applaud her anymore. She has already been affirmed, already been deemed worthy. And that kind of security, that is uncommon, that is powerful, that is unshakable. So no, she is not swayed by fleeting praise or superficial attention. She is swayed by truth. And the truth is, when a woman genuinely knows she is loved, she becomes rooted, unmovable, anchored. She walks through rejection as if it's merely a part of the journey, not a declaration of her value. She walks through loneliness and does not allow it to define her, because she knows love is not always loud. Sometimes it's in the quiet moments, the still moments, the sacred ones. The kind of love she embodies isn't about grand gestures and sweet phrases. It's about presence. It's about knowing, I have been seen, I have been chosen, I have been kept. And when life delivers blows, as it always does, that kind of woman does not fold. She may weep, she may grieve, but she will not shatter. Not because she is unbreakable, but because something always holds her together. Something always whispers, you were made for more than this instant. And that whisper becomes her guide. It becomes her courage. You cannot control a woman who knows she has already been claimed by something grander than this world. You cannot manipulate her with guilt. You cannot ensnare her with apprehension. She is free. Her worth is not subject to negotiation. Her identity is not shaped by opinions or circumstances. It is rooted in truth, in purpose, in a love that existed before she was even born. That is why she does not pursue anymore. She chooses serenity over chaos, purpose over pressure, wholeness over incomplete love. And when you've been chosen and loved like that, You don't go around imploring people to remain.